All right, it is showtime. What's good, everybody, and welcome to the very latest edition of 27 Outs Live. I, of course, am Ivan, and as always, alongside Stefan. Before we get into what you guys see as the title of tonight's show, as you guys know, if you've been around for quite some time, I like to start off the beginning of the show with, showing some love. And I think rightfully so, because, last week, for those of you who watched our interview with Justin, shout out to everybody who watched it. I really want to say on every platform, got a lot of love on the Instagram like never before. Stefan and I were having a conversation about that earlier today. The TikTok as well, the YouTube. I mean, as I mentioned, just all around, you guys really did your thing. As you guys know, we don't really do interviews here on the show, but it's something that we see ourselves not doing as often as some people would like, but certainly more than we've been doing it lately. But as time goes by, those will definitely start to roll out if we are able to land them as well, because that's the other thing. Because us being down to do them is one thing, but then being able to land a person to be a guest on the show is like a completely other thing behind closed doors. But yeah, shout out to everyone for enjoying that. I kind of feel like it's been a while since we did like our typical show. Not to say that the interview wasn't a show, because that in itself, was a show, right? But typically, we come here, we go around the league, we share with thoughts on everything that's been happening. But it kind of feels like it's been some time. But of course, here we are yet again with a brand new episode to do exactly that. Stefan, how are you feeling? And please take it away, man. Let's get this thing going, because as you guys know, you guys got to get in while you can. And now's the time to get started.
So, y'all see what I'm wearing. Y'all see what he's wearing. This was done on purpose on my end. I don't know if it was done on purpose on your end, but it was definitely done on purpose on my end.
Yeah, now that you say that, bro, I have to admit, right, because they don't know, but we didn't plan this. We didn't plan this at all. I swear, bro. I was just looking through the closet and I was like, let me see what is something that I haven't worn for a while on the show. And I decided to put this on. But what a coincidence.
I mean, I woke up this morning. I was like, I know I got an old school Phillies hat in the closet. This is with the 96 All-Star game patch on the side of it. So
right.
This they don't even.
What color is the brim and the P? Is that like a salmon type of pink, or
it's like a salmon type pink, and the brim is blue, and the stars are navy blue, and the hat itself is like a it's a green for sure. I don't know. If
no, I could tell that. But the reason why I ask about the P is because it doesn't have like a bright red look to it. Kind of has like a pinkish type of,
It's a different type of vibe. But I wore this intentionally because I'm gonna start off the jumping point early. I'm gonna piss a couple people off. Kayla, if you in here, when you get in here, if you watching the later Heidi, I'm gonna piss a couple people off. You know what I mean? The Phillies look like they don't even belong on the same field with the Mets, let alone the best teams in baseball to me. Now, you may be saying, well, that's a lot. Y'all did get the brooms out today. Salute to the Met fans. Talk y'all shit. We see y'all out here.
Mm-hmm.
I am tired of caping for the Philadelphia Phillies, and it stops on this show tonight. We told y'all about the Astros last season, and I'm here to tell y'all, we're going to tell y'all again. The Philadelphia Phillies run of making the playoffs every year in the Bryce Harper era is over. They are missing the postseason this season. Well, why you say that, Steph? Well, let's go through it. You feel stale, right? Your lineup is not that good. It's good, but it's not that good, right? And I'm sitting here. Christopher Sanchez had to leave the game yesterday with forearm tightness in his pitching elbow. That's not good.
I heard. Right.
Aronola hasn't been the same since he signed that extension. I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but somebody tell him the season started. Zach Wheeler looks in me. And we know the Phillies bullpen is a cacophony of errors. They're just like a mistake waiting to happen. And I'm tired of people saying, well, they'll find it. When the ball warms up, they'll hit homers and they'll be good. Yes, this is true. But you might not have that chance.
Right. The reason why I don't have them out completely, but I certainly don't disagree with anything that you said, Stefan, because I think what's going to make it more difficult for the Phillies this season more than prior seasons
Right.
is the fact that the National League now in 2025
It's
is a lot
loaded.
more competitive.
It's
Like the
loaded.
National League, in terms of teams that are going to finish above 500,
Yeah.
are way more competitive. Whereas a couple of seasons ago, you really only had a handful of teams, I would say, to worry about. But I don't even have the Phillies myself as a top 5 team in the National League.
Me
Like
neither.
I got the Dodgers ahead of them. I got the Padres ahead of them. I got the Mets, the Cubs, and I'll even go as far as to say that possibly the Giants are ahead of them right now too.
I agree with you. And listen, when Atlanta gets healthy, Atlanta's 10-7 in their last 17 games. So I know they got off to the 0-7 start. I hear that. But when we look back at this, if they get healthy enough, Spencer Strider's back on the IL with a hamstring. So thoughts and good hopes and
That
good.
sucks because he just came back like just the other day.
He just came back and he's right back on the IL. They just put him on a couple days ago. So
Right.
you're just hoping that he's able to stay on the field. But listen, the thing that I look at with the Phillies is the Phillies feel old. They feel old. Like how much can I watch Castellanos run after balls in the outfield like he got no sense of direction on where he's going? Bryce Harper, I get it. He's a great player. But even Bryce is great lately, hasn't been good enough to propel them. Trey Turner still looks like he got the yips at shortstop. I don't know what the hell happened from when he was in DC to right now. Because when he was in DC, he was a above average to an elite shortstop. And I
Mm-hmm.
look at him now and I'm like, you're a shell of what you used to be.
Right.
And I don't quite know what to make of it. Maybe it's the pressure of the contract. Maybe it is playing in Philadelphia. Maybe it's all those things. But right now, you look at the Phillies and you're just like, what did you do to get better?
Mm-hmm.
Max Kepler was your only addition. You lost uh, Hoffman and Estevez in free agency, and they're in their respective places killing it. And you could have used both those guys. And I'm sitting there saying, yo, they might have to do the unthinkable. And when I say that, remember I brought up the idea of them trading Bryce Harper maybe about a month ago, and you looked at me and you said, that sounds crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This GM won't do it because Dave Dombrowski's not built like that. He's not going to do it. Irregardless of what I think, you think, the world thinks, he ain't going to do it. What I think may have to happen first is you may have to fire Dave Dombrowski before this goes any further. Because I don't know if he has the vision to build a team anymore. Well, you say, well, he brought them to the World Series in I think 2022 and their perennial playoff team. But if you listen to Philadelphia Philly fans on Twitter, you hear them on TikTok, like it just feels like they're a shell of themselves, right? Like how much can we keep relying on, well, if this figures itself out and if this happens, we can make a run for it. I don't see that, me personally. I don't see them making a run for it. My idea would be, let's see what happens at the trade deadline. Let's see where you are at the trade deadline. But it feels like they don't belong on the field with the best teams in baseball. The Mets swept them at Citi Field just this week. The previous series, they got beat up pretty good too. Like
Yeah.
the
They've
Phillies.
also played the Dodgers this season, and they haven't looked well against the Dodgers either.
So at that point, you just got to ask yourself, well, they took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers in Philly
Mm-hmm.
a couple weeks ago. So, but I look at them and I'm like, it feels like we're stuck in the mud with this. The manager is very Rob Thompson. He's very stuck in his ways. Will he be good enough to change? Won't he? That's a question. That's a question if you're a Phillies fan. And right now, I got to be honest, if I'm a Philly fan, I'm not feeling the most confident about what we're going to do moving forward because this feels like a team who has no identity.
Right, right. I agree. Here's the interesting part about the Phillies, right? At least when I look at them, I certainly believe that past this season, right? And again, as I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, Stefan, I do agree with you. Especially, it would not surprise me at all if the Phillies somehow are on the outside looking in come postseason time. But I think if the Phillies, here's what I think. I think if the Phillies are serious about wanting to remain afloat with some of these other teams in the National League, the two things that need to be addressed is third base and the back end of the bullpen. I think for now, listen, are guys performing how they should be in the starting rotation as of yet?
No,
Not
no,
how they would like, but I
no.
think you could rock out with who you have, right? Because listen, that rotation is certainly one that I think other teams would die for when things are
Mhm.
clicking. But
Right.
again, if you're Philly and you want to be able to keep this core together, listen, I think this season is a very important one. And I think you got to come out aggressive later this year in terms of bolstering the bullpen. And again, Alec Boehm is just not cutting it for you at third base, I would say.
So let me ask you a deeper question, and it's rhetorical because I don't know if you have the answer to this. And if you do, then let's have a conversation. Their farm system's not ranked very high.
Right.
So what you're asking them to do, is it even feasible at this point?
Mm-hmm.
Because to do what you're asking them to do, you need some level of a farm system to be able to create the capital to make people want your players. Last I checked, they don't have that. Their farm system's not very good.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing is I'm trying to trade from within. So Schwarber got to go. Castellanos got to go if I could get off it. You know where I really want to start, but they'll burn me at the stake in Philadelphia.
Right.
I'll start with Bryce and work my way back. Yo, who wants him? Who wants him? Well, why would you do that? Well, the answer is simple. Are you better than the Cubs right now? Offensively, probably not. Are you better than the Padres right now? That's a definite hell no.
Yeah, Padres are different right now,
Are
man.
you better than the Mets right now? That is another hell no. Because you just got your ass whooped 3 games at Citi Field. And you got walked off today, by the way. So that's an oh hell no. Francisco Lindor made the Phillies his this week. Okay? So, and then I'm sitting there asking myself, because let's ask the real question here. Let's ask the uncomfortable question here. Are these players too comfortable with knowing, yo, we're good enough to make the playoffs? We can turn it on. We can just play subpar 500 baseball for the first 3-4 months of the regular season and then turn it on? Because if that's the attitude, like you said, the National League is loaded. Let's go through it. Cubs, Padres, Dodgers, Giants.
Mm-hmm.
We're not even getting to Arizona.
Right. Yeah, I didn't even mention them yet.
Right? Like Milwaukee's still a playoff team until they prove me otherwise.
Yeah, that's like 6-7 teams right there.
And
we haven't even gotten to Philly yet.
The Reds, okay? Mm-hmm. I like the Reds pitching staff. Terry Francona ain't here to play no games with y'all. He ain't playing games. All right? So, and that's
the other thing too is, and not that these two teams are going to be competing for anything, but I think teams in their own division, right? The National League East, such as the Nationals and the Marlins, they don't look like they're going to let any team bully them this year. Listen, the Nats got a couple of guys who could play. The Marlins have been playing good baseball so far too. So
yeah, it's. I'll say this. I've said this for a couple years now. The Nationals are coming. Mm-hmm. They're not here yet, but they're getting in the car.
Yeah, you know who I really like right now, and they have a few guys, right? But I really like James Wood, bro. James Wood.
James Wood is the guy. I like the catcher. Ruiz.
Right.
Keibert Ruiz is boy.
And if James Wood, like I know it was early, but I don't know, like his approach in the batter's box gives me like a superstar kind of vibe, an early superstar vibe.
He hit a ball today, Ivan. I swear to you, bro. This guy looked like Cliff Floyd's illegitimate son.
You know what's crazy too? He's a lefty that could hit it to all parts of the field. Yo, dog. Where you want it, right, center, left, center. Like he gives it to everywhere.
I'm not lying. Go watch the highlight if you can after the show. He took a ball in the inside corner. It was like just an inch off the plate, and he cut that bitch off before it even hit the catcher's glove and drilled it into right field. Mm-hmm. And I was like, boy, if you get that pull side power to go with your dead center and your other way, that kid's going to hit 40 home runs, 50 home runs in a season at some point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's grown man strength. And then Josh Bell deciding, all right, I'm back in D.C. He hit a ball that was in the upper deck himself. Listen, The Nationals are not making the playoffs. So let's not get that twisted. I don't want anybody. Oh, you got the Nationals. No, no, no. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, put the Nationals and the Phillies together side by side, and I could see a world where the Nationals lineup is a little bit more impactful than the Phillies
Right.
lineup.
I
Because
mean, really, too. When was it? Maybe I forgot when to be exact, but I think it was over the past like couple of weeks. There was a series between the Nationals and the Dodgers, and the Nationals looked like they were hanging right there with them.
they were with them, and then the Nationals also they took 2 out of 3 against Arizona a couple weekends ago.
Right.
And Arizona is supposed to be one of the best teams in the National League. So you start sitting there and talking about you got the Nationals coming, you got the Diamondbacks, you got the you know what I mean amongst the heavy hitters. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you're looking at Philly. Philly might be like the 7th best team in the National League.
That's crazy.
And if you would have told me before the season started that they would be the 7th best team in the National League, I don't know if I would have believed you.
Right. Early on. I
I
agree.
don't
Yeah.
know if I would have believed you because what I said to myself was at least they're gonna hit, right? You can't win games scoring 3 runs. Not with your bullpen, not with your lack of frivolity in terms of and defensively, they're still a shit show. Nick Castellanos in right field is a horror show.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
understand why this is okay for them to keep him and say that we could do this. Bryce Harper at first base, he's manageable.
Hmm.
Alec Bohm, he's still trying to figure out how to play third and hit at the big league level, by the way.
Yeah.
He ain't put it all together yet either. And then, JT Realmuto's starting to wear it down. He's not the same JT Realmuto he was a couple years ago. Now, catching's going to do that. So I'm stating the obvious when I make that point. However, I'd be lying to you if I said the Phillies are lucky if they win 90 games. They lucky if they get 90 wins, bro. Like, think about all the stuff that has to go right for them. Now you got Sanchez on the IL. Ranger Suarez is on the IL already, right? So you got some stuff you got to figure out before we can even decide whether you're good enough to even make a run for this thing. And that's with Ronald Acuna coming back for the Braves. That's with Spencer Strider possibly coming back again at some point. That's
Yeah.
with the Mets not being full strength with no Manaya, no Montas, no Francisco Alvarez, no Jeff McNeil. Like, this is going to get harder to deal with,
Hmm.
right? And then I'm sitting back thinking, yo, the Dodgers ain't at full strength either. Otani hasn't pitched yet. This one's Blake
Oh,
Snell.
thank you. Thank you. I was just gonna say that earlier today. I heard Blake Snell. He's not throwing, right?
No, they shut him down. He
Hmm.
threw on flat ground. I want to say it was a couple days ago, and he still had pain in the shoulder, which signals to me, kids, season's over. Because when you start talking about shoulders and he not feeling himself, and it hurts just throwing on flat ground,
Damn. So you wait. So hold on. Let me ask you this. You think that we don't see Blake Snell pitch again for the Dodgers?
no, not this year.
Damn, that's
No,
crazy. That's unfortunate because I not only am I a fan of Blake Snell, like even before he got to the Dodgers, but I
right,
was
right, right.
definitely looking
I
forward to
wanted to see
seeing
what he
him
was gonna do
return.
with. I want to see what he was gonna
Yeah.
do. And listen, shoulder surgery is not Tommy John, bro. We talking about a different level of rehab. He's gonna be out for. I can guarantee you, if he needs shoulder surgery, we won't see him till 2027 at the earliest.
Right. Right.
Not good. Because
Hmm.
you know what sent it off in my brain, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you. When you start talking about shoulders, right? The shoulder is different than the elbow. Like an elbow, we can fix. You fix the joint. You fix whatever you got to fix, and he comes back. Shoulders, you start talking about just there's so many different muscle structures. The back of the shoulder, the top of the shoulder. Shoulders scare me. That shit just scares me. And whenever I hear the word shoulder, I'm like, because
I mean, listen though, even if he doesn't end up missing out on the rest of the season, right? And let's say he has to miss out on a significant amount of time instead. I
yeah,
think the Dodgers are in a good position to the point where they can do that, if need be.
I mean, they might have no other
And that's the
choices.
only way to go about it, because I think
That
any other way, I think
they
you ruin your chances of having him back.
they might have no other choice. Now, here's how bad their pitching is right now. They're throwing a bullpen game today.
Yeah.
They didn't have nobody to start this game today against the Cubs in Chicago. So, like, they're hoping they're going to get Ohtani back at some point. They're hoping that Dustin May continues to pitch well because Dustin May's been flat out
By
filthy.
the way, speaking of Otani, I think people are getting a little ahead of themselves. So the reason why I say that is because I've been hearing, and I'm sure you have as well, Stefan. A
Yep.
lot of people keep saying that we won't see Otani ever pitch again, right?
No, I see.
Otani will not throw a pitch in 2025. I just want to remind people that before that decision even happens, we have to at least see what Otani could still do on the mound, not only for himself, but of course for the Dodgers, more importantly, because of the amount of years that they're committed to him and the amount of money as well. So
It's
I don't
not.
think people should be counting him out entirely just yet. Now, is it taking longer than most of us would have liked in terms of being able to see him on the mound again? Absolutely. But you got to remember, the Dodgers aren't just any team, right? Like, they have what it takes to be able to take as long as they have to with guys such as
See,
Shohei
but
Ohtani and Blake Snell now.
but this is where I disagree. You don't have that luxury anymore because Tony Gonsolin's also hurt. What are you getting from a Clayton Kershaw? He's almost 40 years old. These guys are not. Listen, what's this guy? Tyler Glasnow just walked off the mound mid-start the other day.
Did he really? I didn't hear about that. Wow.
Yes, he walked off the mound with the trainer Dave Roberts mid-start the other day. So you're sitting there talking about they got the luxury. What luxury you got if Dustin May is your healthiest starter and he just missed the last 2 years?
When I say the luxury, what I mean is they can. So you see how we were just talking about the Phillies, and we went through the several teams that we know, not that we believe, but in fact that we know are better than them.
Yes.
I think the Dodgers, even along with some of the injuries that they've been dealing with, they could still remain in that list. Now, they may come down just a few,
right?
But they would still remain there. Now, in terms of going on a deep playoff run and winning the World Series again, that's a different conversation. I wouldn't go that far yet.
Here's why I'm going to tell you I give them a better shot to do that than to win the National League West. Well, you probably say, well, what do you mean? How does that make sense? Follow the logic I'm about to tell you guys right now, right? If you win the Dodgers, if you're the Dodgers, you're not concerned with winning the National League West. You don't care about it. You're like, yo, as long as we're one of these playoff teams, there's nobody in the playoffs that's built for this like us.
Right.
So let Ohtani not pitch till June or July. Let's figure out what's up with Blake Snell. Let's get all these guys relatively healthy for the stretch run in October. This regular season don't mean shit. It don't mean shit. They literally can win 95 games and be okay. Speaking of games, you see the pitching matchup Friday night in Los Angeles?
No, I didn't see it yet.
Paul Skeens, Yoshinobu Yamamoto, holla at your boys.
That's crazy. You know what? Speaking of Yamamoto, he's looking better this season.
Your boys. Yo, I saw that pitching matchup. I was like, I know what I'm doing Friday night.
Yeah, now that I know that, I'm watching that.
Hell yeah, 10 o'clock game. I'm going to take my old man nap in the middle of the day and shit so I don't fall asleep. Dog.
And the crazy part is, too, Paul Skeens is so good to the point where we know that the Pirates can't hang with the Dodgers. But because of how good Paul Skeens is on the mound, it would not surprise me if the Pirates are in it until like the 7th, 8th.
So they pull him,
yeah.
Yo, I'm telling you, that kid, watching him pitch should be, it should be a holiday. You know how King Felix had the King's Court in you know what I mean? They should have something called the Skeens Crew, where in Pittsburgh, behind the plate, all these sheets should be sold to people that just are here to watch Paul Skeens pitch.
You know what he does need, and I don't know if he has one yet, and not that I know of, but he doesn't have a nickname yet, right? Let me see, Paul Skeens.
He don't need one.
Right.
You don't need one.
But you know when you that good, people still come up with something, even if you don't want to be known as it. Let me see. Because I feel like sometimes they'll say like a guy has a nickname and nobody knows that he even goes by that. You ever seen that before? Like you look at
I
somebody's
got a
name
nickname.
on MLB.com and they
I
got a
got a
nickname. It's like, wait, who's calling him that?
I got a
Nah,
nickname
so he
for
doesn't
you.
have one, but I think he's gonna have one coming soon for
I
sure.
got to I tell you what his nickname should be. The Terminator.
I like that.
Yo, because this guy invents pitches.
See, but here's my thing though. If we're gonna give him the nickname of Terminator, I don't want to hear the nickname Terminator being thrown around, you know, because I kind of feel like that's pretty common. But if we're gonna assign that to him, he's got to be that
Or
now and
or
moving forward.
or I gotta name another one for you. How about we just call him the Cyborg? Because this kid is a freak. I've never seen. Listen, I don't care. I've been watching baseball my whole life. I've never seen a kid as gifted. I'm talking about just pure stuff. Listen, we seen Strasburg, we seen a young Max Scherzer, we seen a young JV, we seen all that. Tell me in your lifetime, bro, have you seen a guy at his age be this polished, this put
From year
together?
one. That's the thing that really
Yo,
stands out.
just think.
Whereas for a lot of guys, you know, sometimes even aces, guys who we fall in love with, you know, after
Crazy,
years
bro.
of dominating, you
That's
look at their
crazy.
first
That's
couple of seasons in
insane.
the league, and it's not really all that special. But we can't really
Yo,
say that for Paul Skeens.
I'm gonna tell you right now, yo, dog. It comes down to this. To anybody in the comments, what's up? I want to hear your feedback on this because the comment section is kind of, it's a little juicy in here. But I'm gonna tell you, man, if you teams start putting your best trade packages together right now, they're not gonna trade them right now, but just start having prospects in reserve just in case you get the call, brother. He is that good. Listen, I had somebody make this comp to me, and I was like, oh, that's a good comp. He is baseball's version of LeBron James.
LeBron, really? I gotta hear this. I haven't heard this one.
Because just of the phenomenon that he brings. When he pitches, it's like a whole thing. Like, yo, Paul Skeens is throwing. You remember young LeBron? Young LeBron, you had to be in front of the TV to watch him do what he was going to do in the playoffs and
Yeah.
go off. And even LeBron at 40 years old is still like, all right, I got to see what this old head nigga got left. Because
Yeah, I don't know if it's only me. And I first of all, now I know. Listen, this is a baseball show, but because you mentioned it, I just want to say something briefly. And I think now is a good time, especially with the NBA playoffs and then all of that stuff that's going on. Let me say this, by the way, before I get into my point. Shout out to those of you watching right now. Make sure you definitely thumbs up the video if you haven't yet. Go ahead and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. All three can be found at 27 outs 3C. As I mentioned, thumbs up the video. And if you are new here, welcome aboard. We're glad you're here. That's Stefan. I'm Ivan. This is 27 outs live. And you know what it is. We do this weekly. But, you know, I've been telling a couple of my friends this. And I don't know if it's just me. And I'm not a LeBron hater. But I kind of am I'm over LeBron, bro. Like, I think the 20 plus years of seeing him in the league,
I got you.
I think it's safe to say. Now, I
got
know
Bron
certain,
fatigue.
yes, I know for a lot of people
Got you.
years ago, they would have that when it came to, voting for MVP. And there were a couple of years where people were like, yo, there's no way LeBron didn't get it. But because he was always in the conversation, it became a thing where it was like, all right, now, like,
You got Bron
now that
fatigue.
he's older, I'm kind of like, listen, it's still an amazing story that he's still able to play at this age at such a high level.
High
But I'm
level, yeah,
kind of
that's
like,
crazy.
who's next though? Like, I wanna move on from this already, you
I
know?
tell you who might be next. It's the man that's against him in this series in Minnesota. That guy Ant-Man is no joke.
Oh, Anthony Edwards.
Ant-Man is no joke, bro. You get Ant-Man with a team around him. I don't want to see that young, but no. Getting back to the baseball, like he just has that LeBron effect in terms of he's gonna get advertising dollars. He's gonna do things on the mound that we've never seen another athlete do. Paul Skeens is that guy, and now you're putting him against that Dodger lineup at Dodger Stadium against Yoshinobu Yamamoto. God, I know what I'm doing Friday night.
Wait, hold on. So you just made me think of a great point, and this is very important. I know it may come off as funny, and I'm not trying to be funny at all. Trust me. But the question, knowing that the pitching matchup between those two teams being the Dodgers and the Pirates, as you mentioned, Friday night,
I
Paul
can't wait.
Skeens versus Yamamoto,
I can't wait.
where is it being broadcasted? Like, I think that's a valid question. We need to know that.
MLB Network has this game. So if you have MLB Network, they have the games.
Okay, got you. All right, the network is fair. The network is fair.
Because and I'm telling you right now, like, see, that's where this is bullshit. Because you know what? I put that game. I put that game right on fucking Fox. I don't care that it's starting at 10 o'clock. The local news, nobody cares anyway.
Right? People get the news from their phones anyway.
Put this game on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Please. There might be 25 strikeouts between the two of these dudes. And
Possibly.
that's shorting Yoshinobu because Yoshinobu's been filthy this year.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second now. You might see 30 Ks between these two dudes with no problem.
Right.
Yo, dog. The Knicks play Thursday. I don't got shit to do Friday night. The Yankees will be done by 10 o'clock. Listen, don't nobody call. Don't nobody text. Don't nobody even breathe. You call a text if you about to die. And even that gotta be what? Do not disturb status, dog. Are you kidding me? Listen, and that's what we need to get back to with baseball. You see how excited me and you are with the prospect and the idea of, hold up.
See, but the thing is, to really be able to enjoy like the names, right? The players that are going to be on the mound, you have to be someone who's into pitching duels, right? Because I think if you're not a fan of seeing two guys go at it on the mound,
I need it.
Is that really something that stands out? Which is a shame, by the way. Like, if you are not a fan of pitchers, I should say, going toe to toe, and I'm not saying over the course of 4 to 5 innings. I'm talking 5, 6, 7 innings, possibly if they could. Like, this is what this type of matchup can possibly be on Friday night.
There's a chance that both these teams might be scoreless going into the 8th inning on Friday.
Yeah.
There's a chance. And I'm excited. People are like, oh, you that excited? The Pirates are trash. I don't care. I listen, I don't care. I'm watching perhaps one of the best young pitchers we've ever seen. And I went through it. Strasburg, Scherzer, Verlander.
Yeah. I remember how hyped up Steven Strasburg's debut was. I remember that time for sure. And as you mentioned, some of the guys who have been in the league for much longer, like I remember what their early days were like, before they got to be the guys who we know them for today.
Right. And the thing that excites me about this is, I'm going to tell you about 3 young players in the game I'm excited to see. The Pirates got another guy that's coming. You ever heard the guy? Have you heard of Bubba Chandler? He's a pitcher. He's a pitcher in the Pirate system.
Bubba Chandler, nah.
Yo, go Google Bubba Chandler. That is ridiculous. He's pitching for the Pirates. He's in the Pirate system. Yo.
Okay.
Gosh almighty. Yes.
Gotcha.
You talking about
AAA right now, 22 years old.
He'll be in the big leagues by like next week.
Yo, man, it's kind of I feel it's I know you didn't do this on purpose, Stefan, but I look up the guy, I'm looking at a couple of things and I see the age 22 and then I see born 2002. That makes me feel old, man. Like, I don't have too many moments where I say that or I feel that way, but I'm sorry. I got to go ahead and say that, man, because that's going to be something that we see a lot more now. Moving forward is a lot of guys born in the early 2000s.
And the crazy thing is, when I seen what's this dude's birth certificate, Hunter Green, it said born in 2001. I almost vomited a little bit. I was like, oh, bro, you kidding me, bro? Is it 2001 or what? He's born in 99. I think he was born after the year 2000. Google that just to be safe though.
He was born 99. Yeah.
99. But even that,
Mhm.
yo, 99 and you in the big leagues.
Yeah. Yeah.
I felt like 1999 just happened a few days ago. What the hell is happening?
Damn, we not that old now, bro. We older than these guys, but
No, but like you see people in the big leagues now with the 2002, 2001, 2000, and you like,
right, right.
damn,
Hmm.
bro. You said
In a
2000.
way, I know it makes no sense saying this, but when you're older and you hear of somebody who was born in like the early 2000s,
It
you
makes you
wouldn't even
feel
think
sick.
that they're like of age yet, but they are. They are now. Especially if you go back to as early as 2000, a lot
Yeah.
of those people now are 25 years old. That's crazy.
Yo, that's nuts to even think about. Just that even being a reality.
That's what I'm
Yo,
saying.
it's that's why honestly, it's a young man's game. Like, if you at a point where like you can't hang with these young cats, it's a young cat's game, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's this is what it is, and like, yo, you know what's gonna bug me out when we start seeing the kids in the big leagues that were born in 2008, 2009. When I
Bro, don't do that. Don't do that, bro. Do not do that, bro. Because if I feel that way now, and I'm at the age that I'm at right now,
yeah, no,
geez, I don't think I'm gonna feel good at all. Look at Emilio. Emilio says you guys complaining. Emilio, so you probably feel how
how we sound.
right, right. And we actually should be prepared to feel how you feel now at some point.
Yo, dog. But you know what? That's the evolution of life. Like, honestly, that's the evolution of life. And you know what's crazy is I was sitting here looking. I'm like, yo, this dude Jason Dominguez was born. I think I saw 2003 on his birth certificate. Though
Crazy.
I was like, wait, your man said he was born in '03.
Mm-hmm.
In '03, I was 10 years old. I just graduated from friggin' elementary school in '03.
Right.
This kid's in the big leagues already at 22 years old. Damn, I feel old.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of feeling things,
Yeah.
I gotta get to this, and we'll get to the comments in a sec, and we're gonna probably leave here in a few minutes. But somebody wanna tell Aaron Judge there is no higher league than the league he's playing in right now. Somebody wanna tell him. Somebody wanna tell him that 400 for the first month of the season is absurd.
Yeah, that's different.
That is absurd. Listen, I don't care that he got 7 home runs. Your man's batting 412. Not literally 412, but he's in the 400s.
OPS maybe like what, 1200 or something
Do me a favor,
ridiculous like that?
Google his numbers because we got to get somewhere here. The Mets just played the Phillies, and I'm gonna bring it back to a Met point for all the Met fans.
415 OPS 1200 on base percentage 513, bro. Getting on base more than 50% of the time is ridiculous.
First of all, did you say his batting average was 413?
415.
415.
Mm-hmm.
Hold up, bro.
That's different. That's crazy.
Yo, this guy is playing beer league softball in the big leagues, bro. It's like when you got MLB The Show and you put all the things on like easy,
Right.
and you
Yeah.
hit like 500 for the first 2 weeks, and you're like, I
Mhm.
get used to. This dude's doing it in the big leagues against real human beings. The ball he hit today, the first pitch he saw, I was like, Jesus Christ, bro. And
Now that you said that, I wanna change this one last time, and this is actually going to be the last time. I don't want to say that I address it, but the last time that you'll hear me say like, "Oh, these are the guys who I have," because I know to start the season. For those of you who remember, I was the one who said I got Bobby Witt Jr. in the American League winning the MVP. And then I said, I think Shohei Ohtani is just like, it's almost unstoppable. I don't think anybody could stop him from winning the award. And I
except
think,
his injuries, because if
right. But
yeah.
I think I want to go ahead and mention 2 guys now. Aaron Judge being an obvious one, so I don't want to spend too much time on that at all. But I was already feeling that. I just kind of wanted to be different, and I thought Bobby Witt Jr. would be able to put up a fight, and not that he can't.
The Royals are off to a bad start, which leads me to a point. I'm
Yeah.
letting you finish. They
Mm-hmm.
need to call up Jack Castiglione right now. Their best prospect in the system.
Right.
Do me a favor, go Google Jack Castiglione's numbers in
Mm-hmm.
AAA. Unbelievable.
Right.
Lefty power. Yo, they were just facing Clayton Kershaw like yesterday. And this
Yeah, I saw the hit he got off him. Yeah.
guy hit two rockets, one the other way and one up the middle. And
Yeah, I
I'm like,
saw the clip.
why are you even here at this point? Like, you need to be in the big leagues because their lineup is scuffling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wait, you put Wick Castiglione on the top of the lineup. Now we got a threat because now Salvi slides down, Melendez slides down, Hunter Renfroe slides. You know what I'm saying? Now there's lanes to this.
Yeah. I wish Shrek was here because I know he'd be able to speak more on that himself, you know, because
That
I know
kid,
he's probably somebody who's waiting for that guy.
he should be in the big leagues. I'm serious. He should be in the big leagues. Him and Bubba Chandler, get these guys to the big leagues, please.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
tomorrow. For real.
We might. I wouldn't be surprised if we see both of them up at some point this year.
Getting back to by the way, I'm gonna break in real quick. Shohei Ohtani's walking to the plate, top of the ninth inning, 7-6 Cubs. So we're talking about Shohei, and we might see a moment here because this is a one-run game, and I want to see what he does because he's been away on paternity leave for the last couple of days. Had a baby. Shout out to
That's
Shohei.
right. Yeah, yo, a lot of people having babies, man. Ohtani, Devin Williams. I think Alex Bregman was also on the list as well. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people decided to have babies around the same time.
That's crazy. I mean, I'd rather have it earlier than late. Is he going to pitch to him or do you walk him? Because there's nobody on base. It's 1 out. It's a 2-0 count. I don't think.
Speaking of Ohtani, I did want to finish my point in saying why I'm moving on from him being my pick for National League MVP. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, folks. You know, listen, I know a lot of you guys are not here, but if I got to remind you guys, then I surely will. But I got Mr. Frankie Lindor winning the National League MVP, man. You know, I told you this earlier today, Stefan, for a while now. One of the things that a lot of people would criticize Lindor for was the fact that he would get off to such a slow start, right?
Not this year.
He would take all of April and like part of May to finally get his swing going.
Not this year.
But now in 2025, with more protection in the lineup, he's off to a hot start. And I think this is the year when he finally breaks through and he wins himself an MVP.
Oh, got him swinging on a nasty
Struck him out.
Got him, yeah. Woo, that pitch was filthy. What was that?
So the Cubs might actually walk away with the win then.
Wow, that comeback last night that they had, Wrigley was going nuts. Nuts. Yeah. By the way, that's the second comeback they've had like that in the last week. No, Arizona did it to them. They scored like 10 runs in the 8th inning, and the Cubs still won the game.
I remember, yeah. By the way, maybe it's the whole torpedo bats, but what's going on with the amount of runs that are being scored this year, bro? Like, I feel like I'm seeing just so many games where both teams, not just one, but both teams are scoring double digits.
Look at this game. It's 7-6 in the 9th inning.
Right. Who was it the other day that scored 24 runs? Was it the Reds, right?
The Reds against the Orioles, yeah.
That is, like, I'm sorry. I wasn't watching the game because I was doing other things.
I started watching
but I saw the box score, and I swear, call me crazy for saying this, but I thought there was something wrong with the app, bro. I said, there's no way. There's no way. You don't see scores like this in baseball. But then I closed it. I swear I closed it, opened it back up, and I was like, yo, this is crazy. And then remember, I shared the screenshot with you guys in the group chat, and I was like, yo, this is unheard of.
It was Sunday. It was night 2 of Mania because I was watching the game, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to turn it off. Because when I turned it off, it was 9-1 already. So I'm like, this ain't going to get no better. And then
you got off early.
I was like,
they had like another 16 runs to score.
I was like, damn, they put up 50. Yo, these niggas put up 2 touchdowns, 2 field goals, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, and 2 field goals, though. I thought I was watching the Bengals play. What's going on here?
That's crazy.
And I'm sorry, not to get off on this tangent, but the Baltimore Orioles are they're hot garbage. I hate to say it like that, but like your pitching is hot garbage.
Yeah, they can't pitch.
I'm done with yo. Do they trade for Sandy Alcantara? Yo, do they trade for blah blah blah? Yo, until they do it, I'm acting like you. I don't want to hear nothing about them.
And the thing is, too, listen, do they have a shot to being on those guys? Absolutely.
Of
But
course.
the one thing that you've always said is, are they going to be willing to depart with some of the youngsters that they have called up recently, right? Because we all know to be able to land a guy like Sandy, that's what it's going to take. Not just that, but then you have all these other teams in the league who are also going to be in on him, right? Because Sandy, listen, he's going to be a hot commodity come trade deadline time.
Listen, he might be a hot commodity. Even he pitched today. He looked okay. He looked okay. The one thing I was encouraged with was he got up to about 98 today. And I said, all right, if you get up to about 98, that means you starting to find the release point, the rhythm. You letting it eat a little bit. You trusting the arm. You feeling good about yourself. Let me tell you, man, if you are a Marlin fan right now, you hope that he pitches decent enough because you could get a haul, whether it be from the Orioles. But I got a spot for Sandy Alcantara that's going to make Yankee fans and myself sick. I got him going to Boston.
To Boston, that would be huge, man. Because Boston's already looking good, right? Now, if you add on to what they already have working for them, they could be something special.
If you add that to a Garrett Crochet and a Walker Buehler, and they're supposed to be getting Lucas Giolito here back soon, Jesus. Like, that's where if I'm Brian Cashman, I'm sitting in the crib going, Spencer Jones, I might even have to throw Jason in the deal. And I love Jason, but it's like,
I think, listen, with speaking of the Yankees, with the way the rotation currently looks, do you think they have to go out there and do something, right? They don't got enough, man. They don't. It's kind of crazy how quickly things could change, man, because about a month and a half ago to 2 months ago, we were like,
they got
his injuries are right. Yeah, they got this guy. They got like 6-7 guys.
Now,
then this guy went down. Then that guy went down. Now we're at a point now where it's like, I think you guys might have to add on to what you had.
But here's the hard part, right? The hard part is, and I'm trying to think of a way to word this. The Yankees are not in the advantageous position of dictating terms to any team who might want to trade with them. Because the farm system's not that good. The Red Sox farm system is better than yours. The Orioles farm system, even though it's taking a step back, is still considered better than yours. There's other teams with deeper farm systems. The Dodgers have a deeper farm system than the Yankees do. Can you imagine Sandy Alcantara pitching for the Dodgers in the playoffs?
Honestly, man, I would not put it past the Dodgers, man. I would not.
Oh man!
Because listen, even with as deep as they are, I wouldn't be surprised if they want to go out there and make a move or two that some people probably are not expecting them to go out there and make, right? Because they have so many options. But little do they know themselves that, you know what, maybe they aren't actually as pleased with, what's been happening so far. There's also that too.
I mean, you might not have no other choice, to be honest. Like, we just went through the injury list. Like, the Yankees are in the same place. Like, Max Fried's been great. Rodon was good today. Like, Clark Schmidt was good in his first start. Will Warren was good yesterday until the defense let him down. He was solid. I think Clark is going to be okay. I think the Yankees have enough to get them through to the deadline. But to get to the over-the-top point, you got to go out and get somebody. And the one, I'm going to say a name, and you guys are going to think I'm crazy for saying this, but the guy I'm looking at it as Eric Fetty, pitcher for the Cardinals. Eric Fetty's the guy that I think the Yankees go get. I don't necessarily think they have the artillery to go trade for a Sandy Alcantara, but who knows?
Right.
Who knows? Because I just think There's other teams with deeper farm systems that can make this work if they really wanted to, and Boston's one of them. Uh Baltimore's another. Like there's teams with deeper farm systems, and it's just like you know like you don't want to be the guy that gets left at the altar because you didn't want to make a move or be aggressive. That's why I'm gonna say this again for the record because we didn't get back to the Mets real quick. Yo, when you got them this offense humming along, this good playing this well, you cannot play around at this deadline, bro.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a pitcher you got to go get, whether it be a Fetty or whoever you choose to go get at the deadline, pitching wise, you got to go get some pitching.
Right.
You have to. Like, I'm at the point now where it's like if Ryan Clifford has to be included in the deal, if the kid, what's his name? The second baseman, he got a weird name. If he got to be Jet Williams, if you got to include Jet Williams in the deal, if you got to include Acuna in the deal, if you got to do something like that to get some pitching, you got to do what you got to do, man.
Right.
Because it's at a premium now, right? Like, I don't think San Diego trades a Cease or a King.
Listen, man. I don't think you could. But by the way, thank you for saying that, Stefan. TD, what's going on, bro? We see you there. Glad to have you here with us tonight, as always. Speaking of the Padres, I want to say something because I guess they just did not understand what was said in that short. Not the show, forget the show, but just that short, man. So I don't know if you guys weren't in on your own team in the offseason, but the way they responded to that clip that we put out on the TikTok, you would have thought it was something that we made up. Like, why nobody? Now, listen, I was comparing what was said in the offseason to the way that they're playing baseball now as I speak. I don't know where in there did they get like, oh, the Padres are tanking. The Padres ain't doing this. They're not doing that. Listen, it's one thing if now they've come to the conclusion that they're not going to make those deals, as Stefan just mentioned. But let's not sit here and act like Stefan and I were just talking about things that were never shared to the public. Well, because it was.
No, but here's the other thing, right, that people refuse to like acknowledge or gloss over. You forgot they were going through an ownership change at one point. Like they didn't know.
That's another thing too, yeah.
What their ownership was going to be able to spend, what they were going to be able to do. They had questions about their finances.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't blame AJ Preller for probably hearing from ownership. Yo, you got to get off at least one or two of these, man. It's gonna hurt, but we gotta do.
You see why I said that even if they attempted to move one of those guys, right? Like forget a couple, because it was a couple of names that were mentioned in the offseason.
Right.
But even if they attempted to move at least one of those guys, right? Look at how the fan base has already reacted, and nothing has happened.
See,
but just because they heard a couple of things, look right away. Nah, there's no way. They are not doing that.
This is where I'm going to give me and you some credit, right? I'm going to give us some credit. When we talk about this stuff, there's no emotion in it. Like it's very cut and dry. I'm sad. I'm sorry if you're a Padre fan and you killing our thought process. Your own general manager decided himself, yo, we might want to move on and do X, Y, Z. So I can't blame the fan base for feeling some type of way, but you also can't blame us for taking AJ Preller's words,
right?
His actions, what he said, that they're taking calls on King and Cease. Whether they pulled the trigger is another matter entirely.
Right.
Just the idea that a phone call was being made and something was about to happen where these dudes may have been traded is where you need to have a conversation based on the idea that this is a conversation they had, number one, amongst themselves internally and with other teams. Whether you accept to acknowledge that is your own personal preference.
Well, see, this is I want to show this comment here by TD. TD, it's real tricky, man, because here's my thing, right? I think Cease is a big part, not the only part, but I think he's a key component in what they have working for them right now. And I think if you get rid of that, right? Yeah. I don't think getting prospects in return
It's
is what
good
you're
enough.
really looking
It's good enough.
for when
Right.
you currently look at how the Padres are constructed.
Just
Now, I know going into the season, it made all the sense in the world, but I don't think too many people had the Padres being this good early on. I don't think anybody had them out completely, but certainly not being. I mean, you could really make an argument that they might be the best team in baseball right now.
what
Between
is
them, the Dodgers, and the Mets, I think
they
the Mets have the best record as we speak.
right.
Right.
The Mets are 18-7. The Padres are 17-7. The Padres
Exactly. Yeah.
they lost their first road game today in Detroit of the year. What are we doing?
Right. Right.
Come on. Like, come on.
Like that's one of those things where,
That's
like,
absurd.
I don't want to sound cliche when I use this, but that's literally the definition of if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it, right? And the
Right.
last thing you want to do is get cute. You got a team that's really good. You got a team that believes in itself. You got a team right now that AJ Preller might be forced to add. He might be forced to go out and get now. You know he's super uber aggressive. Would it surprise you if Sandy Alcantara is wearing a Padre or a Dodger uniform by the time we get to July 30th?
Jeez, that would be crazy, man.
No.
That would be nuts.
Would it surprise me if the Padres acquire another bat? No. No. Because I'm gonna tell you something right now. You know who I got playing left field for the San Diego Padres a couple weeks before the trade deadline? Luis Robert.
Oh, from the White Sox?
Chicago.
Yeah.
AJ Preller is that dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's that aggressive. When it comes to making a move, that's who he is. That's how he's built.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I could see it.
And the thing with the Padres is I don't really think they're missing much. They've got the lineup, they've got the rotation, and they have a bullpen.
That bullpen is no doubt. Jason Beck, you got the kid Robert Suarez throwing $1 billion, Jeremiah Estrada throwing $1 billion. No,
yeah,
Padres are good.
And listen,
and that's what
he's go ahead.
That's without Jackson Merrill, who they're gonna get back here in a few weeks, maybe another week and a half. So
and Tatis, you know, I think he's looking like the best he's ever looked, bro. I know Tatis, even when he's not having all that good of a season, he could still look fun. He could still look exciting. Just the way he goes about the game, right? And his swag too. Like he cares about wearing certain cleats. You know, he's always about having a good time. But that aside, man, Tatis is looking like I don't know what this season, man. He looks special.
Hold on, did you see what happened? So he had a conversation with his dad. His dad told him, "Yo, you think you're a good hitter?" Fernando was like, "Yeah, I think I'm good." He was like, "No, you're not. You strike out way too much to be a good hitter. You're below average."
Right, go ahead. I'm listening. No, I'm reading comments, so I'm listening to you, and I see something that TD is sharing. By the way, TD, thank you for the love, bro. But there is something I want to highlight. You want to finish that point, or you want to
I'll finish this point by saying, "Yo." So he told him, "Yo, you strike out less, you hit the ball more. Your power's gonna go up, your batting average is gonna go up, and you're gonna be an elite player. Right. You're gonna be everything you think you are, and you're really gonna be that." And that's what he is. If you look at his numbers, he is among the elite of the elite. Right now.
So TD says that I guess we're a little too high on the Padres right now. And then he says maybe he could be missing out on something. I think you are missing something, bro. Because if you really think about it, let's go back to what certain teams were saying last season, right? Like in the postseason, you even had the Dodgers. Yes, the Dodgers, after they took out the Padres in the postseason, they came out and said, like, yo, we just took out what could be the best team in baseball.
They even said that.
Here we are, and I get it to your point, TD. It's only April, but for them to be playing that good last season and for them to be picking up where they left off, I think it's safe to say, like, the Padres, they're not going anywhere. Now, are they going to hit a bump in the road just like everybody
else is? Yeah.
Of course, it happens to the best of them, right? But to really sit here and act like the Padres ain't going to be that good, Oh, they are, bro. They are.
So here's what I'm gonna tell you, and we all have differing opinions. That's fine. But most teams, when they go through what the Padres went through to end the season, they come back and they're not the same. There's a sluggish malaise. They don't feel like, man, bro, we were just here. Can we get back again? You know what's fueling the Padres? I think now you sitting here talking about the Dodgers are even better. Arizona's better than y'all. They got better pitching. That lineup looks crazy. And you the Padres, and you're like, hold up, dude. We still got Fernando Tatis Jr. We still got Manny Machado. We still got Jackson Murrow. We still got Dylan Cease. We still got Michael King. Our bullpen's one of the best bullpens in the game.
Right.
What are we talking about? And that's with losing a Tanner Scott. That's with Juan Soto leaving via trade last year. Like, or the year, before the start of last year. What are we even talking about?
Right.
This team has continued to pump out player after player and after player. And until I see them not do that anymore, I'm going to respect them for how good they are. Now, we'll see what happens in October because you got to go through all the injuries. You got to go through all the unforeseen issues and things that come up. So that's a fair point. But if you're asking us right now on April 24th, what's the 23rd, the 24th, the 23rd?
The 23rd.
If you're asking me on April 23rd, I think the Padres are one of the top 3 teams in baseball.
Right. Yeah.
I think it's them, the Mets, and I don't even put the Dodgers in the conversation. I would have to say that, I mean, yeah, if you want, you can put the Dodgers there, but the Dodgers ain't been off to the greatest of starts. So it's like they might be there by default, but yeah, the Padres are good, man. Don't sleep on how good they can be.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's before them even making a move at the trade deadline to improve the team if they have to.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is too, when you think of a lot of teams, usually not many teams are able to say, yo, we have a solid rotation. We have a solid bullpen. We have a respectable lineup. And listen, whether you feel a certain way about other guys or not, TD, I'm referencing what you said there about Tatis and him getting off to a hot start and then slowing down later in the year. Listen, I get all of that, right? But even that aside, like just the way the team is constructed, they're a hell of a team.
They got a good team.
Yeah.
Like Xander Bogaerts is playing really good baseball right now. Xander's playing well. I mean, you got, and the thing about them is they got options. It's not just 2 or 3 dudes carrying that team. That whole lineup, if they really wanted to, can put it on you for a whole full game.
And be honest too, like TD, right? Listen, I know the Red Sox are in a completely different league, but realistically speaking, if you had to go up against the Padres, are you feeling confident in games 1 and 2, knowing that you got to go up against a Michael King and a Dylan Cease?
Yeah, no.
That's a tough matchup.
And then hold on. We're not even talking about if Joe Musgrove pitches at the end of the year. I don't want to deal with them. And again, I'm going to keep saying this because AJ Preller has done it year after year. Yo, how do you find players to trade? He's going to make a trade that we're all going to be sitting there going, this dude did it again, dog. At the buzzer, he's going to trade for somebody that we're not even close to even thinking about. And they're going to be Padres, and me and you going to be sitting there, trade deadline night, going, yo.
Where did that come from?
He's a psychopath of epic proportions. He's a psycho. And listen, I get it. We all have differing opinions. I'm cool. But 17-7, I didn't make up that record. That's the record they woke up. That's the record they're going to bed with tonight. 17-7 through 24 games. That's not a bad record.
Right.
You can tell me you're not a believer once we get to October. Fair.
Right.
But I'm not going to diminish what they're doing right now.
Nah, TD, yo, man. I love the fact that you always tune in, but you're killing me right now, bro. You're saying the Padres would be the 5th best team in the American League?
The American League. Wait. Hold on. The
National League is way more competitive, bro.
The American League is hot garbage. Listen, if you
you got 4 teams in the National League West alone that are better than most teams in the American League.
Listen,
outside of maybe the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Tigers, maybe.
Put San Diego in the American League right now, and that's the best team in the American League.
Right.
and it's not even close.
And that's not just record wise. I think if you were to really go
Talent
through
wise,
what this
yes.
team has versus the Padres, I think the Padres would come out on top.
Listen, I think the Yankees are a good team, but I think the Yankees also are a very flawed team. I look at the Padres right now. I'm like, where's the flaw?
Mm-hmm.
Other than probably production, because they are an older group and they might wear down, but nah. You 17-7 is that's what their record is right now.
Yeah.
We're not reaching for something and saying that it's not realistic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't argue with 17-7, bro.
Right. The good thing is though, and I still want to credit TD, the whole April thing. I get what you're saying. The good thing is because we are in April, we
Right.
could revisit this. We could revisit
No
this
doubt.
come July, August, and
Right.
remember what we spoke about today regarding the Padres.
And also not to make an excuse, but there's also health complications that arise with this.
Mm-hmm.
Health is a big part of this.
Right.
So if they're not healthy, of course they're not going to be the same team. But if everybody's on the field clicking on all cylinders, playing with the way they're capable of playing, why can't they be the best team in the National League?
Right.
Record-wise. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
talking about talent-wise because I still think that belongs to the
Yeah.
Dodgers and twice on Sunday. But record-wise, I could see them being the best team in the National League. Why not?
Right. Before we go, I do have a question because in the title of tonight's show, and shout out to those of you who have tuned in tonight. We appreciate it as always. I wonder if the Cubs, we recently spoke about and found out actually, Justin Steele is going to be out for the remainder of the season.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how serious the Cubs are about competing in the National League because I don't think you could just ride out this season without. And I'm not saying you got to look for someone who is going to replace what Justin Steele could have done for them, right? Listen, you can't always do that. No. But I wonder if they go out there and make a move or two to be able to see if that could make up at least somewhat for no longer having Justin Steele in the rotation.
Is there a guy?
I'm sure there's going to be a guy, but I'm really questioning the Cubs more than
Do they have the stomach to pull the trigger and make the deal? Yeah.
That's
a fair point because, like, I like Matthew Boyd, but Matthew Boyd got lit up tonight by the Dodgers. Like, Imanaga hasn't been as good as he was last season so far this year.
Right.
Like Jameson Tyon's a year older. Like, is there a guy in your system that we're not aware of yet that might come up and change the trajectory of how we view your staff? Maybe.
Right.
I don't know if that's a definite or not. It's a maybe. Mm-hmm. What I will tell you is this is going to put a lot of pressure on Jed Hoy because if they continue to play well, you can no longer have the excuse of, oh, we're a rebuilding team. We're just trying to put it together. Now this team is going out there and doing it on a nightly basis. So my question is not do they have the stomach to do it? While that's a fair question, my question is, will the team force their hand enough where you ain't gonna have no other choice but to have a stomach? You might be puking over the toilet as you're trying to make a trade because you don't want to trade assets, but do you have the stomach to say, hey, man, let's go get whatever we need to put ourselves in position? Like for me, David Robinson would be good in the back of that Cub bullpen. How David Robinson is not signed yet is damn near a crime of epic.
Yeah, that's a problem, dude.
That's a problem. Insane.
There's no shade to anyone who currently has a contract at the big league level, and I'm not gonna single anybody out, but there's a handful of guys. I would say maybe even more than a handful of guys who are not as good as David Robinson would be at his age. And David Robinson is what, in his late 30s, right?
He's about 38.
Yeah, he is 40 years old, actually.
40, wow.
40 years old. And I say that with confidence, man, because throughout his mid
shout to D-Rob, bro.
He was still respectable.
Shout to D. That curveball was still filthy, bro.
Mm-hmm.
That 12-6 he had. Woohoo. I just want to make one final point before we leave.
Yeah, go ahead.
These are the type of shows that we're gonna look back at in 4 or 5 months and say whether we were right and whether we were wrong. Because unlike the shows on TV right now who think that their ish don't stink and they know it all and they're better, they're above criticism, you guys can come here and criticize us because we criticize ourselves. And I don't want there to feel like, damn, you know what? They think they're better than us. No. Because I'll say I'm wrong. I'll be the first to say it. I was wrong about the Mets to start the year. The Mets surpassed all of my expectations, especially with the injuries they suffered to both the pitching staff and the catching position and a couple of
They're
position
without a
players.
few guys. Yeah, no
So,
Francisco Alvarez.
like, they've exceeded my expectations. So I can't say that I was right on that. I didn't have that. I had the
Yeah.
Phillies being better. I had the Braves being better, and so far, the Mets have proven me to be wrong. So
And I
these
want to
are
give credit to David Stearns, man, because early on in his tenure with the Mets now, we're starting to see right away, like, listen, it may not make sense to the masses, but he knows what he's doing. Like, listen, it's only April, but the whole Clay Holmes experiment, him being a starter,
he
it's
nailed
looking
it.
like it's going to work so far.
Clay's looking good to start. Yeah,
David Peterson looks good. Tyler McGill looks good. Kodai Senga looking better than he did last season.
healthy.
Listen, as I said, it doesn't have to make sense to us, but if it makes sense to David Stearns, then he might
and
be
it
right.
works, then that's what it's supposed to be. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? So
Yeah, great point.
I mean, look, hopefully I'm wrong about the Phillies because I want to see Bryce Harper in the playoffs and see him excel on the biggest stage, but doesn't feel that way. Hopefully I'm wrong about the Orioles, and hopefully we see those young guns in the postseason and the pitching improve and all those things. I hope I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel to me like these teams are on the precipice of doing anything. Same thing with the Cubs. Like, I want to see the Cubs continue this. Offensively, they're going to be fine. I don't think they can pitch with many teams in baseball, let alone the National League. So,
Right.
I mean, we'll leave it there, but
Mm-hmm.
you can always rewind the tape. There's going to be reels and shorts that you guys can clip up. Remember when you guys said this? Remember when you guys said that? And we're here for it.
TD likes to do that sometimes. TD likes to be like, yo, but y'all said this.
No, which is fine.
Yeah.
Accountability is beautiful, especially when it goes both ways.
Yeah.
So
By
I'm
the way,
cool.
TD, I know you showed up a little later, which is perfectly fine. But just to kind of fill you in on how we're trying to go about things moving forward, we're really not looking to do like the close to 2 hour show, hour 45 minutes, unless we have that amount of people who make it worth sticking around for that long.
Right.
And not to say that you being here is a bad thing, right?
No,
Because
definitely
we
not.
shout you out every damn time. I know you feel the love. You damn near feel like a third host at this point, bro. You just might be. But I say that
Listen,
because,
man, we
like, right
might
now, for example, we're wrapping up because at this point, we're capable of getting into everything that we want to talk about within the hour,
right. Also, you might have to take you up seriously on that offer, bro. We might have to open a third slot here, get you a podcast mic, brother, and have you
Yo,
up here.
that would be fun, man. We gotta maybe do something like that one day to spice it up.
For sure, man. So
Yeah.
we'll see what we come up with.
Before we go, friendly reminder, we are at 98 followers on Instagram. So make sure you guys go ahead and follow us on our Instagram. You can find us at 27 Outs 3C, TikTok, Twitter. TikTok, we are not as close with the followers, but we are just a few hundred away from 2,000 likes.
Yeah.
So keep thumbs up this, thumbs up that, thumbs up all over.
Well, we just gained a follow on TikTok today, so we're 2 away from 60 on TikTok. So shout out to
Right, yeah.
the person with the follow on that. But we ain't got to go home, but we got to get the hell up out of here. So peace, y'all.
Peace.